Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Shad, and today we have a really exciting video for y'all. The long-awaited NBA Finals preview for this series between the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat. This is a very story-filled matchup, but I want to talk about the on-court things that I think will impact the winner of this series. To all the new people that are here from that last video that I did, thank you. First of all, 29,000 is a career high for the channel, a personal record. So thank you very much to everyone who shared it, who watched it, who commented on it. I love you all. Thank you so much. Let's talk about this NBA Finals series. This first theme, I want to focus on what I think is going to be the most important matchup of the series, and that is the matchup between Bam Adebayo and Nikola Jokic, aka center versus center. This matchup historically has kind of been one-directional and one-sided, and Jokic pretty much abusing Bam whenever he has him as his individual defensive matchup, and Jokic is too big, Jokic is too skilled with his footwork. No pun intended, but it's going to be a pretty tall task for Bam because he is someone who, like Anthony Davis, is better as a roamer. Now, they operate differently as roamers. Anthony Davis is more interior and rim protecting oriented when he's roaming, so he's playing the backline help. Bam Adebayo as a roamer loves to stay near the perimeter or just near the action in general because that is his strength. He's very, very mobile for being a center. He's really a power forward. And you see it on plays where he is able to disrupt an opposing offense because he's able to switch onto a smaller guard or a speedier, more crafty forward or whoever it is on a screen and switch or whatever switch happens and Bam ends up on someone, you're confident in his ability to defend that player at a high level, at an elite level. Just think of a super boosted version of Jared Vanderbilt. Good perimeter defense, well above average perimeter defense, so that makes him extremely switchable, and they can also guard the rim at an above average level. The problem with this situation with Bam specifically is that if he does roam, who is going to guard Jokic? Is it going to be Caleb Martin? Are you going to take Jimmy Butler away from the perimeter and stick him on Jokic in the post? It's for damn sure not going to be Gabe Vincent or Max Strus. So, the Heat have had plans against other teams to where they were able to slow down an offense like we just saw in the Celtics series. They really, those first three games were really telling in terms of zone usage and how they were playing the stars for the Celtics. In Game 7 specifically, when they decided to, I believe it was over half of the Celtics possessions that the Heat defended, they played switch. And it worked out. Eric Spoelstra said he had something for Game 7 that they were going to come out with a win. That was partly the reason why. It's really hard to do that against the Nuggets because we just have bigger bodies in general. Which then makes me believe that Aaron Gordon should actually have a really easy time in the dunker spot, but he will be talked about in a later section in the video. So stay tuned for that. And on the offensive side of this equation for Bam Adebayo, I want to talk about some of his strengths offensively because they do factor into this series, especially if he's going to be guarded one-on-one by Jokic. Bam is very comfortable with the ball in his hands. He's a pretty good passer. He's quick with the ball. He knows how to make a lot of good decisions within this Heat style of offense. So finding a cutter, doing a DHO, creating space for a dribbler, and making Jokic have to guard one-on-one in space, that is something that Bam is really good at on the offensive side of the ball. He's a really good lob threat within this Heat offense, and I think the only issue is that sometimes, a lot of the times really, he just lacks the necessary aggression in order to overpower his matchup. And I think he's going to have to turn that dial all the way up and try to attack Jokic one-on-one in order to wear Jokic down in any way that he can to make his job a little bit easier on the other side. This next theme I want to talk about is the mismatch hunting ability of Jimmy Butler. So we have seen it in each of the series that Jimmy Butler has played in this postseason. He hunts for matchups quite frequently. He was hunting Giannis. He was hunting Drew Holiday and coming away with massive success against both of them. Jimmy Butler knows how to pick his spots. He has some issues sometimes with being a passive scorer, but when he's on and when he finds his groove, when he gets that mid-range, it's going to be tough. When it comes to the Nuggets and his mismatch hunting ability, there are a few ways and a few people that he could attack specifically in our starting lineup. So the three most likely will be obviously Jamal, MPJ, and Jokic, with Jamal being the smallest, MPJ being the least disciplined defender in that starting lineup, and Jokic being the slowest footed one in our starting lineup. That's going to be a very popular switch that they, or Jimmy Butler, will be looking to explore. And the other guards as well, because the Heat have really speedy, talented, crafty guards that can get to their spots as well and provide a lot of offense for the Heat, because they haven't been coasting on piss poor average offense. They've been really good on the offensive side of the ball. That's not to be taken lightly. So in my mind, I'm thinking, do the Nuggets explore pre-switching? Because that was a thing that happened in the Celtics series where, I can't remember what game it was, but Jaylen Brown was getting hunted like crazy by Jimmy Butler. And what Joe Mazzulla told his team to do, pre-switch. If you notice that Jaylen Brown's man has been called up for a screen, Jaylen Brown will communicate to the closest Celtic, and they will handle the switch from there before even getting involved in the action. It's something to think about, especially if it turns out that they will be hunting Jokic for a lot of their possessions. So it's just something to think about. That's all. I think it'd be interesting to see if the Nuggets do that. This third theme was something that was going to be really obvious heading into this series and pretty emblematic of where the NBA is going as a whole. The three-point shooting, the shootout ability of both of these teams. They are the two best three-point shooting teams this postseason, with Miami Heat shooting 39% and the Nuggets right behind them in the number 2 spot at 38.6. These teams do not shy away from schemes that involve heavy ball movement that get wide open three-point looks. It's part of the reason why both of these teams have made it thus far in the playoffs so far. And the Miami Heat did not get here by having a bad offense. One of their strengths offensively is their off-ball movement. It is insane. Every player on the court is active in finding the seams and finding the cuts. It's a lot like the Nuggets play offensively in terms of having people create movement from the defense using their own movement. And a lot of their guys can make a really nice pass in a window. Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson has shown that he can throw a really nice bounce pass. Bam Adebayo is a really good passer as well. Jimmy Butler can make a pass too. They have a lot of extra people on the court who know how to make the extra pass or just make a pass in general. This ball movement will lead to a lot of sinking by the Nuggets defense. It'll lead to a lot of missed rotations and a lot of open shots for the Heat, who already like making an extra pass. So if you do a hard closeout on the guy, you manage to get one rotation down pat, but the second one isn't there, the Miami Heat are going to pass the ball again and have another open shot. It'll be tough for the Nuggets to stay disciplined because the Heat themselves are a really disciplined team and they know how to exploit a defense. Obviously, being an 8th seed, they were looked down upon, but their offense has caught a lot of people by surprise. I know we talk a lot about their three-point shooting, and while that is a big proponent in why they are so good, it is not the entire reason. There are a lot of inside the arc things that they do really well that'll be a problem for the Nuggets because Denver does have times where they are just completely undisciplined on defense. They're selling out terribly and they're giving up a lot of open shots. Communication will be key for us. And I'm not sure the Nuggets can really explore switching on defense too much. I think there are just too many favorable matchups for a lot of the Heat's perimeter creators when it comes to finding advantages on offense. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch out for. Jimmy Butler can create his own shot, for example, and Caleb Martin has shown that he can get his own shot as well. We have the Jamal Murrays. We have AG when he's not just being a bulldozer. We have MPJ, who has now learned to put the ball on the floor. We have KCP, who knows how to manage a DHO and get to the mid-range. He can even put the ball on the floor as well. We've seen acrobatic layups from him as well. And we all know what Jokic's offensive ability is. So potentially 5 players on the court at all times that can get their own bucket. And I think that really mucks up a lot of what the Heat want to do defensively, because with anyone that breaks their zone, if they play a zone, if anyone breaks that first line of defense, if they're playing man, Jamal Murray creates a lot of gravity, MPJ creates a lot of gravity, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. The Heat are going to have to decide if they want to collapse on the drives, because this is an inside-out team, the most inside-out team that the Heat have faced so far in this postseason. They're going to have to pick their poison at some point, because we have so many different ways of attacking this offense. And when it comes to a shootout, when it comes to shot making ability and three-point shot making ability, the Nuggets have an edge. Though the Heat shoot a slightly better percentage, the Nuggets have more weapons, a lot more versatile weapons that can get that shot. As I said, the Heat will probably have to pick their poison about how they want us to beat them. And the problem with this is that the Nuggets are so good offensively that they can scheme against different schemes. They have a variety of counter offensive plays to go against zone, to go against heavy switches, to go against heavy hedges on PNRs, to go up against a really big interior defense, to go up against a really small interior defense, like we have seen in each of the 3 rounds so far for the Nuggets in this postseason. Versus the Wolves bigs, it was 32 three-pointers attempted on 12.5 threes made. Versus the Suns' weak interior defense, we saw less three-point attempts, 27.5 to 10 three-pointers made. That came because there were a couple games where we made 7, we made 8, we made 7 again, but there was generally less three-pointers attempted because Jokic and AG and everyone else decided that their interior is weak. If we attack that for easier buckets, we can have an easier time on the court. And then you move on to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers, the best defense in the NBA at that point, the best interior defense. We shot the shit out of the ball. 36 three-pointers attempted for that series and 14 and a half threes made. We play to the defense that's given to us. We take what is given, and I think that's what's so deadly about the Nuggets. If you take one aspect of our offense, we have this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one lined up ready to beat you as well. That's just the name of the game, versatility on offense. If you can be schemed against with one to two adjustments, and have your entire offense just halt, that's an issue. It doesn't do that with the Nuggets. How Spo will be scheming against this, because he is one of the best coaches in NBA history, it'll be interesting to see what approach he takes, because there are a couple of options. Obviously, they could do the stick bam on Jokic, play him one-on-one, and just hope to God that everyone else can play to their matchup. In a zone, they can throw heavy help at whoever catches the ball on the elbow and force them to make a quick decision and a quick pass, and hopefully you create a lot of turnovers off that, get out in transition, play faster than the Nuggets, get a lot of threes up that way as well. I mean, or on PNRs, are they going to switch everything like they did against the Celtics? Are they going to allow us to find the mismatches? What are they going to do defensively to account for, at damn near all times, 4 to 5 really good offensive talents on the court? That's a lot to scheme against. I'm not sure how they'll do it. Obviously, I'm not a head coach. I can only infer. And based off, how these teams have played each other before, the zone kind of just doesn't work against Jokic, because to beat a zone, you have to have really sharp, quick decision-making, quick passing, and good cuts as well. And all of those qualities are things that have gotten the Nuggets to this point in the finals so far. Speaking of cutting, I'm loving the segues that I have in my head right now. Aaron Gordon is going to be very, very important. And he's the next theme that we're going to talk about. As I've mentioned a few times in this video, the Miami Heat are small. They do not play a real backup center. They have Haywood Highsmith playing some of those minutes when Bam is off the floor. That's a bad combo. Cody Zeller and Kevin Love were coming off the bench. They were slightly bigger bodies, and they were getting attacked, and it was really bad for them. So they went to super small ball. Aaron Gordon has been our small ball 5 for the postseason and a little bit of the end of the regular season. Against the Heat, who are already small enough as is because their starting center is 6'9", Aaron Gordon has to have a really good series, or at least I expect him to have the best series he's had this postseason. It was a little bit hard against the Timberwolves with Rudy Gobert being down there and the 6'10" or 11 frame of Karl Anthony Towns in the way as well. Like, Cat might not be a good defender, but he's big. In the Lakers series, it was Anthony Davis and Jared Vanderbilt and all those really active hands of the Lakers. He just needs to be aggressive against this Heat team. Point blank period. They're smaller. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's more athletic. He needs to take command at some point during one of these games. I'm expecting a 20-point game from Aaron Gordon. I think in the backup rotations, that's where he's going to make his money. That's going to be vital for both teams because he's going to be able to attack so many different mismatches, which makes me think that the Heat are probably going to have to bring a Zeller or a Love off the bench just to have a bigger body, even if they're going to be sacrificing the talent. It's a very, very tough pill to swallow, but I think early on if the Nuggets are able to kind of draw that adjustment out of the Heat and out of Eric Spoelstra, it's going to lead to a lot more good things for the Nuggets. So it's a lot to unfold here. On the other side of the ball for Aaron Gordon, he's probably going to get the Jimmy Butler matchup. Another mid-range maestro that he's going to have to defend and be disciplined against because, as I said before, Jimmy Butler likes to up fake. Jimmy Butler likes to draw fouls. Aaron Gordon has already shown this postseason that in matchups against really good perimeter players and really good shot creators, he's able to stay disciplined. Like the play against Devin Booker that sticks in my head forever, where he guards him from the perimeter, follows him to the free throw line, doesn't fall for his fake, keeps his hands all the way up, and gets a block on a fadeaway jumper. That is the quintessential perimeter defensive play by Aaron Gordon. And I think that's going to be a lot of what we see against Jimmy Butler because, like I said, Jimmy Butler is a mid-range operator. He's not really going to be shooting threes over the top that often. He had a really good three-point shooting game in Game 7, but don't expect that to be Jimmy's MO. Jimmy likes to get in your chest. Jimmy likes to go downhill on drives and like I said, draw fouls, get contact. Aaron Gordon kind of mitigates a lot of that. But we said the same, Giannis is a better defender than Aaron Gordon, and Jimmy was still able to abuse him. And I'm not saying that Aaron Gordon is going to stop Jimmy Butler. I'm just saying that Aaron Gordon is probably going to give him some fits. And now overall, my official series prediction is Denver Nuggets in 5. I think we just match up so damn well against this Miami Heat roster, especially a Heat roster that still doesn't have Tyler Hero. There are still questions in the air because he was just cleared for basketball activities, but there's a lot in the air with Tyler Hero, so we don't know. But it's another uphill battle for the Heat, but it's also hard because this entire playoff run has been an uphill battle for them, and they've been able to persevere. They've been able to beat teams that, on paper, they should not have beaten. They beat a 1 seed already. They beat a 2 seed. They beat a 4 seed or 5 seed. They're doing the damn thing, and I have to give them respect. I think with the Nuggets, this is a different tier of team that they're playing in terms of offense, having a combined attack that they have to focus up against. It's going to be a tall challenge for them. I expect them to take a game. I do not think they're going to get swept. I do expect a fight in a couple of these games, for sure. The Heat are just like that. They're well coached, they're disciplined, they're scrappy, they hustle, they don't give up. They do not give up. They love coming back in games. They love being down 10 because they get to play hard. They get to play scrappy. They get to play Miami Heat culture style of basketball. And if they play to their strengths, they're going to have a really good series. I still have the Nuggets in 5. Let me know what y'all think. I'm Rashad. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.